G'day friends and fans, welcome to Dave Talk Stuff. Now, if I was to tell you what I think MGTOW is, it may differ from you. But generally MGTOW is seen as men going their own way, because that's what MGTOW stands for. And what MGTOW stands for is exactly what I believe MGTOW is. However, it's predominantly, to most men, an anti-feminist community. It promotes male separation from society because they believe it is biased against men, and it has become a gynocentric world that I don't mean just the West. The whole world is gynocentric. Most of the world puts women on a pedestal one way or another, and followers most advocate for avoiding marriage and or any other commitments or relationships with women, to focus on self-improvement, to actively protest laws regarding alimony, child support, and child custody, often citing, and I've often cited this too, that most of these laws violate the fundamental principles of the rights of man, and that is to protect your property. You do not marry a woman to give her your property. You decide who gets your property. And if women get nothing when you die, that is not your fault. And of course, women believe fundamentally the state has to take care of it because they can't take care of themselves. But I thought you were studying and brave. I thought you were strong, independent women who didn't need no man. This is exactly what's wrong with the world. Now, just because some people are anti-feminist, I don't know if the majority are anti-feminist. I do know the majority of MGTOW generally advocates, the majority advocate against marriage, and it does seem the majority do advocate against cohabitation. Now, this is not to insult those who do or don't. This is just to point out that MGTOW is men going their own way, but academics are trying to create this thing called the manosphere, and they lump manosphere, anti-feminism, Andrew Tate, pickup artists. They're trying to lump everything into the lowest common denominator and say, when we say MGTOW, this is what we mean. And they're trying to thrust their meaning onto a rather diverse group of men. The manosphere is a broad group. It is a collection. It is not a collective. It is not a common thread or common theme other than we don't want to be a woman's slave. Anything other than that, yes, there is men's rights activists. Not all are in the manosphere by their own definition. There's a lot of controversy. Why? Because scholars always want to label everything, put them in neat little boxes, so they can pick apart, analyse, and manipulate. Of course, don't forget, most scholars are misandrists, and they want all female supremacists, right? The ideology is pretty much simple. If this world was a patriarchy, how did we lose the battle to women? We would never give them the vote. If we were patriarchy, there'd be no vote for you. Full stop. Yes, you'd be sex slaves. No questions asked. No man walking down the street would acknowledge a woman left. Right? You do not realize there are patriarchies in the world, but they're very smooth, very small, and often very hypocritical and very oppressive in every other form as well. The problem with women is they need their fantasies. They need their imagination. They don't want reality. They were trying to escape from their reality. They are so obsessed with this fictional freedom rather than reality. There is no freedom. Now, many men, and I call it the Great Awakening, are realizing the women are not reasonable people. They do not grow up to obtain reasonable goals. They do not see relationships as anything other than a stepping stone. They see everyone to be used and or abused. They see only dollar signs and goals to achieve and boxes to tick. How many dicks can I fit in me? How many can I fit in my mouth? How many objects can I put in myself? How many cups of wine can I drink? You know, how many cats can I own? There are no reasonable... there is no way you could say the majority of women in this world today are reasonable. They pretend to be reasonable. They're all wearing masks, all hiding their cope and seethe.
Every day for the past 30 years, you high-heeled pit bulls have blamed us for everything. From not being able to get into Harvard to not being able to get into stretch pants.
Not out of spite, not out of hatred, out of self-preservation. Because the state of modern women today means the juice is no longer worth the squeeze. Why? Because they compromise peace instead of multiplying it. They bring noise when a man wants calm. They bring conflict when a man wants clarity. And for men in their 30s and beyond, peace is the empire worth defending. Let's talk about the state of modern women. They've been shaped by culture, by social media, by a system that feeds them endless attention they were never supposed to have. And what does that attention create? Inflated egos, unrealistic expectations, endless insecurity. A woman today is flooded with more validation in a single day, than her grandmother got in an entire lifetime. That's why men
It's like eating too much sugar. Women have attention diabetes. But, yeah. Basically, you know what MGTOW is? MGTOW is men going their own way. Now, many reasons why men go their own way. First and foremost is dating pressure and constant rejection. It is not a matter of, oh, if I ask 10 women out, I get one, I score, then the next day I ask 10 women out. No, that's not what men are doing. That's what women are doing to men. Every day on Tinder, there are thousands of men getting swiped and swiped and swiped. They're swiping on women, but the only matches you get are when women swipe back. And more. Right? Women, every day, you get a match, the next day, she's back to Tinder, looking straight through the list of available dicks. That's all they're doing is dick shopping every day, right? Men are feeling overwhelmed, right? Because men build relationships. They try to build a family life where women are trying to maintain their dating life over and over and over again, trying to date for longer and longer. They do not pursue a relationship other than a financial relationship, right? Increasingly, you're finding out that clubs are nothing more than abuse centers where you go not to dance, to socialize, and to pick up, but to be picked up. And there is a difference. Women are controlling the relationship. And once you let a woman control the relationship, once you let a woman pick you up, once you let a woman swipe you, once you let a woman control when you put your dick in her, and you have to when she wants it, whether you like, and you have to perform how she wants it, once you are under her control, under her sexual dominance, you are constantly under her control. Otherwise, you are replaced. The modern era has turned everything into a commodity.
Of you guys, I've realized something that I need to get off my chest. It is the men who are actually trying to save the relationships here, not the women. And what's crazy is that most of the women I've actually talked to and had consultation with tell me that their husbands are the ones sending them my videos, and that says everything. 70 to 80% of divorces are filed by women. That is not trying to fix a marriage. That is walking away from it. Most women threaten divorce long before they're ever ready to file. They use it as leverage until the man finally hits his breaking point and says, I'm done. And once he does say I'm done, That's when the gaslighting starts. She flips the script, plays the victim, promises to change, cries, manipulates, you name it. Anything to pull him back in.
Remember what I said? They use D-A, right? Davro, right? They use Davro. I did a video on this. They deny, right? When the denials, the gaslighting, then what? They switch to abuse, right? They pull you back in. Now what? That switches to abuse, right?
Because the control is slipping from her end. But when a man truly checks out, it's not loud, it is quiet, and it is final, and you've lost him. When a good man walks away, it is not because he stopped caring. It's because he cared too long and nobody met him halfway. So if you're watching this, man or woman, ask yourself, are you really trying to build your relationship and save it? Or are you slowly tearing it apart while you're convincing yourself that you're the one being wronged?
Right, go deny, abuse. The abuse doesn't work. What happens? They reverse the victimhood. Now they're the victim. And when you finally get to the divorce part, you're the offender, right? They make you divorce them. But they're the ones who have been divorcing you for since you got married. They have started planning their divorce, started planning their exit. Women's groups are teaching women how to provoke fights in order to break up marriages. And then they will come to court for you and say, oh, she's been on the phone with me, here's all the records. But they have no logs of the actual courts because they're privately confidential. And they have coaching sessions. And they even record coaching sessions. Right? But when it comes to sitting down with professionals, they will not sit down in court with a professional and answer professional questions. They'll just deny, right? Call you the offender. Right? They're always reversing the victimhood. Women are purposely destroying relationships. So, again, this is why so many men have given up on long-term relationships, because they know, right, as soon as the spark begins to fade, they see it. Women will interpret this as incompatibility, and when a woman's bored, she will actively seek new relationships, new validation for that spark, right? They're always chasing their first orgasm, okay? They're always chasing the thrill of the meat, the mystery of the unknown, right? They're always chasing that romantic interlude in the dark. They are never chasing a proper human relationship anymore. They're chasing satisfaction, sexual gratification. Women have turned relationships into prostitution.
Life where I don't care about women. And I'm not saying this like, oh, screw them. No, that's not the context of what I'm saying. God bless women. They're very important. But what I'm trying to say is a lot of men depend on a woman's validation and acceptance to feel good about themselves as men. And that used to be me. But then I realized how dumb that is. Like, you got to get that from yourself by putting in work every single day and trying to get past your struggles.
This is the boomer mentality. And I don't know how many generations this went on before that, but the boomer mentality was happy life, happy wife, right? You had to satisfy a woman. And I think it's a failure from between the end of the Victorian era and World War II, where it's almost switched from women being you're the protector, you're the provider, and in turn, they're the dick sucker, the sandwich maker, the dishwasher, the child bearer, the child raiser. No, women have pursued more and more goals, and as they pursue more and more goals, they've actually started to shift responsibility for everything, right? Men are responsible for our upkeep. Right, we provide the children, therefore they should take care of us. We are special to society. Unfortunately, we have a democracy. We do not have a republic. The republic died the moment you allowed pork barrowing. The moment you started voting for jobs and for government to provide factories, right? That's socialism, right? The government should not be in the business of providing you with jobs and housing and income. It should be, there are very narrow and specific parameters of government, but everybody's voting for the guy who's going to build the road out, who's going to give me more trash collections, right? All these things, they are not rights, they are privileges. And you keep saying, oh, but society's rich. You're not paying. So, yes, you are stealing from others to pay your bills. That is feminism, communism, collectivism. It is enslavement of men. And this attitude comes from this broken era, the boomer era, where you had to please women, right? You had to give them everything they wanted, so women started demanding. It started with started with the vote, then it's housing, healthcare, education. Now it's everything. They want you to pay all the bills, but then none of the reciprocity. There is no children. There is no relationship. There is no enjoyment. There's no peace. You do not come home and find that she has kept your home. No. She says, now you have to do the housework. And it's like, you can look around and see that she's done no housework. It doesn't matter. You have to believe all women. No. The whole dynamic is broken. And that is, men are done. Men are done with these stagnant, boring relationships where women, the moment you do not, they'll say, oh, you know what I like. No, you don't. Don't play that game with me. They all do it. They play that game where you have to know everything. What shall we have for dinner? I don't know. What's for dinner? I don't know. You order tonight. I don't feel like making dinner. You order. You treat me. You got to treat me good. Right? Women in a $10 t-shirt will expect lobster. Right? And always you hear this. I'm just raising my standards. No, you're not. You're raising your price tag. You don't have standards. Women do not have standards. OnlyFans has proven this. The number of men who scream, pickup artists. Remember the pickup artist? There's I'm not sure if it was a TV show or a documentary about this guy. He was called The Pickup Artist. He wrote books who started off this whole pickup artist craze, right? He used to pretend to be a photographer and offer women fashion model contracts because that was how women, because women get paid more than men to be a model, you know, because equality. It's the same with school teachers. Equality, my ass. But this is why there's, right, the more women talk, the more you learn they do not have any decency or common sense. It is just pure self. Yes, and I do know I have a mother and a sister who's probably watching all my videos in shock and horror. Most of you, right, have a female family member who's put you in a position where you just can't answer. It's shock and horror, right? And so, yes, I do know, right, there are many good women out there, but the few and far between. And most of them get married, stay married, and keep their head down because they're avoiding the bitches in this world who are constantly tearing others down. And experts call this the male lonely epidemic. This is where men have no close female relationships or left feeling worthless after divorce or unneeded or unnecessary, right? Social isolation. This was a tactic by feminists, right? The sex strike. How many times? I've heard this so many times. Female radio announcers usually do it, right? Oh, ladies, Proposition 19 or Proposition 21 or the equal rights of women. We're going on a sex strike, everybody, till we get our way. That is not democracy. That is blackmail. That is bullying tactics, right? Social isolation. Women are ever increasingly telling women to up their standards. What does the higher standards mean? Well, you have to be tall, you have to have a big dick, you have to have a six-pack, you have to have a big wad of cash, you have to be an absolute simp. They couldn't be the gentleman, of course, because they're... right, so the rules of the boom era, that happy life, happy wife, you know, but there's no reciprocity. There is no, gentleman in the boardroom, freak in the bedroom. No, none of that. There's no bedroom. You're not the king. You are the court jester, and she's the queen. Once you figure out that women are, and this is why men are walking away. They're sick of the socialization. They're deliberately tired of women's shit.
I'm sick of the. Oh my god. Touch a boob, buy a drink. I mean, it's like very simple.
She's so mad. Okay, why is she mad? Well, because she got all dolled up. See that tight fitted orange dress, right? Did her hair, went to the nail salon, got a special little mani-pedi, you know. Maybe did a little waxing because she thought she was going to get funky that night, you know, right? And she went out, and no one is giving her any time. Attractive girl. So she's like, what is going on? She goes home, she looks in the mirror, she's like, making sure. She's like, no, I look good, right? Asks her friends, like, is this look? Oh yeah, you look amazing, which they'll say even if she doesn't look amazing. But honey, any guy would be just so lucky to have you. I know, right? And like, her and all her friends are just like, why? I told you, guys are tired. Guys are tired of you. They're tired of you pretending to want to take them seriously when you really just want the free drinks. They're tired of going up to you and you being like, thanks for the drink, you know, doing this game you do. Tired. They're tired of the takers. They're tired. They don't want to deal with any of that. They're tired of, oh, you know, you meet all of these qualifications, right? You know, you got all the qualifications. And she's talking to you and she's like, oh, but, you know, there's this one thing. He has a boat and it's red and I don't like the color red. Oh, right? Because they feel like they can be so picky that they've got everything met, but they can just nitpick about everything, right? They're tired of you. You want guys to come up to you, change your attitude, change your strategy, treat them differently. And that's going to have to happen over a long period of time, right? It took decades to get here. Guys finally saying, I am done with you.
Yeah, it took decades from, you see, it started with your grandparents, right? All the boomer divorces in the 80s, and nobody cared because that was the boomers. Gen X is struggling to hold together marriage. Oh, but it was only a small divorce rate. Bill Clinton says, by the time it got to Bill Clinton, it's going to be rare, It's, you know, things are going to, you know, the divorce rate's decreasing. Yeah, but the marriage rate was decreasing. Gen X, millennials, the marriage rate going down. But those who were married, more and more divorces, until it got to the point now there is more divorces than there are marriages, meaning that there are virtually no more long-term marriages, period. So younger and younger men are not getting married because all they see is a timer, right? A woman looking at them saying, how much time will I spend with him? They're looking at how many relationships they've already been through to get to that point, and they're finding that women are trying to hustle them to either buy a house or get a car. When are you getting a job? How much are you getting a raise? Will you be getting a promotion? It's always driving you to get more, to provide them with more. But nothing you do is right. Your shoes aren't right. Your hair's not right. They are constantly meddling. And the moment they are done, they are bored and they are fantasizing about the next guy, right? And this is why they're increasingly chasing poor, broke guys. They chase criminals because they're motivated, right? They're sexy and exciting, even though they're ugly, dumb, and fucks who will never achieve anything in life. But they can dispose of them easy, right? Just call the cops. Who do you think turns in most of the criminals? Their girlfriends. I know where Tyrone's stash is. They'll hide his car, they'll hide his, they'll put the drugs in the car. They'll make sure he's one of his the firearms is in his car, and they'll hide the cash else in their car and call the cops and say, "Officer, he hit me, officer," and boom, he's crash tackled coming out the door at 3 a.m. "Oh, there's drugs in the car, officer." Baggy. And he's like, "What? That's not mine." Your prints are all over it, right? Your DNA's all over it. We got your crack pipe. They set you up. They literally line you up for the police. You notice all the defund police, they're just all the crooks. But the women ain't nowhere to be found because they're the ones calling the cops on your ass every time, Tyrone. Don't you ever, right? You see the most successful people in the world now, right? They ironclad, these bitches. They literally know, right, Jeff Bezos, okay, we got a 20-year contract. You leave me before then, you get fucking nothing. Nothing. Now you can't, now I think it's like, it's now like almost 5 years now, right? Every decade, the point of which a woman cannot claim anything from a man is coming down, right? It's now like, I believe, 5 years in some states. In England, it's almost the moment you're married, she owns everything. It is getting freaking ridiculous. But calling women takers, absolutely. You're the hunter, they're the gatherer, and you are the gathered. Right? They're collecting men, using them up, abusing them, and releasing them into the wild, right? Where do all the criminals come from? Single mother households. Where do 70% of murderers come from? Where do 70% of abuse? It's almost guaranteed that the majority of broken, abused, and confused young men who have no direction in life come from single mother households, right? They're driven at school to succeed, but at home, they're pretty much emasculated. They have no ambition in life. They have no direction in life. They don't know what they want to be. All they've done is told basically, your wife's going to choose everything for you. Right? Your wife's going to control you. Pretty much. But they're told in so many different ways, you don't have a direction. You're just constantly told to please others. You have to humiliate yourself. You have to please others. And some of this is from religion. Some of this is from politics. There's no one single direction you can point to and say, we take this out of society and it all goes back to normal. No, women have purposely infiltrated everything now. Right? And they're all Marxists, they're all feminists, they're everything, right? They're everything but a straight white Christian male, right? This is what majority and the idea of democracy does, right? They turn everything into one big, we pick this group, the richest group in the world, because it's a minority, it's easy to pick on, because you just anger all the minorities into one big majority. And that's what women do, manipulate. And men are tired of their shit. They are literally, unfortunately, a lot of men are literally so wound up. They're taking their lives because of women and their shit. Because they cannot leave you alone. They cannot go one day without crying, without bullying, without demanding, right? Without seeing if they can get more than the next day. And to them, it's a game to see how much they can get and to see how long you can put up with shit. And as I said, from the boomer period, it took a long time. It took until some marriages collapsed after 20, 30, 50 years, right? And then it was not even making it, then it wasn't even making it the 20, 30, 50 years. It was, divorcing after 10 years and then 5 years and then so many divorces now within the first year of marriage. Most marriages, they spread the rumor of the 7-year itch, right? oh, men are going to get bored with you after 7 years. One movie, and the entire world believed this lie. One movie, right? It's the woman who are the ones that get tired. It's the woman who get the itch, right? The itch to say, oh, can I do better? Oh, I'm still young. I'm still pretty. He didn't get a promotion last week. Oh, his friend did. Oh, I'll go with him, right? Now, a lot of people understand this statement. Women are arrogant in their 20s, delusional in their 30s, bitter in their 40s, alone in their 50s, and forgotten in their 60s. But she dressed herself. Why is she mad at men? Alright, she did it to impress other women. Alright? I'm chasing peace, no longer chasing a peace. Yeah. And a lot of men are agreeing that she's insufferable. Yeah. Drinking, they're drinking more, drinking. Feminism didn't free women, it freed men. Freed men from having to take all the risk, freed men from losing their money, freed life of chaos. Freed men to become what they've always meant to be. Achievers, right? We were never meant to be tied to women. Right? We were bullied to this idea that we had to chase women, that we had to please women, and that we had to do everything to keep a woman. Why? So that her father and mother didn't have to take care of her. But increasingly, you ever hear on TV for the last 50 years, I'm going home to mother. You know, like marry with children, the constant threat of leaving. Women did not pick up and suddenly overnight turn into shrews. No, they were constantly bombarded with shrew mentality. And if you go look back at the starlets of the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s, where are they? Most of them got married. Most of them had children. Most of them had 3, 4, 5 husbands. Some even more. They had multiple children with multiple men. They got big mansions, big houses. Where are their children? Drug, rehab, dead in the streets. Most of their sons committed suicide or cut off their dick. Right? Women have become tools of wealth extraction for the greedy few. And women are quite happy because they get their OnlyFans cut, right? They get their 50%, their 50, right? 30% goes to the government. The lawyers take a big, sorry, they don't even get 50% in reality. Just don't forget, the government takes their cut, right? Right? You've got lawyers and legal fees, and ever increasingly you have now mothers in their 30s and 40s doing OnlyFans. And those novelties are wearing off. Like the average OnlyFans now is down to like $180 a month, if they're lucky. Some are not even making that a year. You have over 3 million creators who earn less than the average, right? So you have millions of creators, which the vast majority earn less than the average. You have a handful who've earned a lot, and they're still counted. So you have this weird delta curve, right? This absolute weird trajectory where even some of the youngest and hottest women are not earning much because because they don't know how to hold attention. They don't know how to hold a man, right? So they've never dealt with a man. All they know is, you know, show your tatas, show your VJ, do a little dance, scream, yell, abuse the audience. Most people are not watching OnlyFans for what you think. They're not watching OnlyFans because they want to see your pornography. They want to see your life coming apart. They want to see the unhinged rants, the insufferable begging, right? Most men are paying because they want to keep the begging going, right? They want to live that fantasy where women are begging them. So they're literally paying $50 a month just to have women beg them to pay $50 more. They're absolute morons. Absolutely, please. I'm not promoting OnlyFans. I am suggesting, however, right, that this is why they're watching OnlyFans. That men are increasingly, however, tired of women's ever-changing standards, right? First, you just had to be tall. As a tall person, I used to have no trouble getting women. But then, it was, as you get a little bit older, you're not older, women are ageist, okay? Most women, sure, there's plenty who say, I like an older man. No, you like an older simp, right? You don't want a man, you want a simp. There is a huge difference, right? They want someone who takes them out, not someone to sit with or have sex with, right? To women, the relationship is you spending money on them, right? Men are increasingly prioritizing their personal space, personal achievements, independence over dating. Why? Because there is no reward. There's no payoff. There's no family, right? Even in a family life, you used to have time for your hobbies. You used to have time to relax. You used to come home to a warm meal and a warm bed. And in the morning you get up and your clothes are laid out and you're ready to go with your breakfast. And on the weekend you might get a bit of sports time, a bit of nookie time. And you did not have a stress. You could literally leave all your stress outside, right? And then you'd go out, do a bit of yard work. You didn't have a list of chores on your refrigerator until women started pushing this fantasy that they could boss you around and give you chores to do like you're their son. And then the women complain, I hate man keeping. You are the ones who created it. See, most women do not get they are being manipulated, right? Most women do not understand, right, that they are shallow, that they are, men protecting the peace, that they don't understand men whatsoever. Those who do get married, those who don't stay single, and then increasingly complain where the good men are. No, you don't want good men. Every time you hear a woman complain about where are the good men, no, they want a simp, right? Where are the simps at? Where are the rich boys? They ain't chasing you no more. Women forget they age out. They always think they're the prize. And increasingly, everything men say, women are reversing onto themselves. Now, yes, eventually the childbirth crisis will reach peak. Then the governments will eventually be forced to release the technologies which they've been sitting on, the uterine replicators which replicate the uterus, the cloning techniques and all these other things they've been experimenting on. They have seen this coming. They have literally been warned. They literally knew from the collapse of every empire since, the moment you give women so-called freedom and so-called rights, boom, society has collapsed. Liberalism, feminism, collectivism, communism, fascism, whatever you want to call it, is nothing but a brand. But people are so selfish and say, you just don't know the difference between socialism and communism. Socialism, the government controls the means of production through laws. Capitalism, same thing. Fascism, we use violence to enforce our laws. Communism, we use violence to enforce our ideology, and we own all the means of production. The workers are just disposable assets to property of the state. Everything's property of the state. So don't tell me that nuance is any different. In every ism, women right? As soon as you destroy capitalism, women become property again. Every single time. That's why China's collapsing. China put women on a pedestal, destroyed civilization in 1948, and by 1956, the men had brief control, but it was an illusion. It was all to please the women, accumulating ever-increasing amounts of wealth to stay in power. You hear girls brag about all the dicks they ride, about all the men they've had, right? They do not have any valuable achievements, right? All these female artists, right? What are they singing about? All the dicks they ride. They literally, female comedians, it's my period. Oh, my ex. Oh, my ex. Oh, my ex. Oh, my ex. And even feminists are walking away. Feminists are now cancelling other feminists. They're saying, no, we don't want Amy Schumer for anybody but Amy Schumer. Feminists are now so offended by each other. They can't be in the same room. And women, I don't know if it's just because I made a video about it, but women are now seeing Jane Fonda as a whore. I'm not saying this because of my video pointing out that she's a whore, but yes, women are catching on very quickly now, right? Women are watching MGTOW videos, about 50% of the audience for a lot of you women. They are trying to some of them are still trying to figure out what went wrong in their lives. So there are still some women out there may be able to be saved, but I should do a video on this separately, but I'm telling you, there are people you cannot save. Most of them are easy to spot. They have big egos and no human connection. They say to your face how much they like you, but behind your back, you ask them for support, they never show up, right? I'll give you a classic example. The wife wants you to pick up the kids after school. You know, it starts simple, right? First off, you're driving past, pick up the kids from school, right? The weekend, so take them to soccer practice. Soccer, when did this happen? She's planning all these things well ahead of time. Don't worry about it. So then, of course, it's, I need hands with the groceries. And soon before you know it, you're walking 2 steps behind her, pushing shopping carts every weekend. Your guys, there's no... it starts off season usually, and when sporting season comes, she usually has you doing so much yard work, all these little home improvements, and you're thinking, wow, all these things that need to be done, you know. Yeah, I got to I can't watch the game. I'm refitting a door, or redoing the bathroom, or redoing the kitchen. You're doing up the house. Guess what? She's sizing you up to carve you up like a turkey. She's getting ready for them fights. She's building you up, building up her assets, building up her time, isolating you so she can carve you up like a turkey. And you won't see the divorce coming. Why? Because they are trained by hundreds of videos out there saying, men don't deserve anything. You won't see the divorce coming. Here's how to do it. And they literally lay out how they did it to a man, and women just copy everything, right? Women do not think, they follow. And they follow the most powerful group. It used to be the most powerful individuals. Women have literally been brainwashed over the last 50 years to follow collectives, okay? All the isms. It's almost if there's a cult who constantly put together this cycle of endless rise and falls to stop any, right? They keep talking about global civilization, but to prevent any group other than themselves achieving dominance, right? They probably achieved dominance early, right? Say they conquered Babylon, genocided the Aramites, the Hittites, the Semites, spread throughout the Middle East, but now they're bitterly divided. They've intermixed with everybody else, so now they're just spread around the world doing that over and over again, right? Carrying out the same patterns of history over and over again, calling it religion, calling it God's work, and, right, all these Western women, they just see the endless gold, the endless fame, the endless wealth, and they're promised, oh, wow, these studios are offering me lots of money to be an actress. And what they do is they get actresses. Women follow actresses, and you see them with them talking constantly about not having children. And then all of a sudden they pop up and they have this instant family. Women do not understand, right? And it's a relentless competition. But that's a video for another day. But women do not understand. Other women are not your friends. They're your enemy. Particularly from other races. And they just don't get it. They're so deluded by this fantasy of this massive sisterhood that's going to take care of them. That's not true. It's a short-term tactic where they stroke your ego. It's like the con artist that says, I forget the name of the series. It's a brilliant series on how cons work, right? You go to a stockbroker, and the stockbroker gives you a tip. That stock goes through the roof. So you come back the next day and says, oh, put it all on IBM. And they lure you in, right? Each return getting less and less. And they say, oh, but we've got one more tip. It's really big. It's going to the moon. What happens? You lose it all. And he says, the stockbroker's nowhere to be found. But it's all perfectly legal. You walk in and they said, oh, no, he doesn't work here no more. He lost all our clients' money. Meanwhile, he's just gone to another town, went over and started all over again. They're always moving. Financial brokers, dime a dozen, right? You got boiler roomed, okay? And this is legal highway robbery, right? Where what happens? Well, they get a stock, they sell you the stock. But what they've done is told everybody the stock's going to the moon. What happens? Well, everybody's betting against everybody for those shares. Well, who are you buying them off? The broker. So the broker gets the profit of the shares and the transfer fees. It goes on and on. So the few, every system involving money always benefits the few. Women get this, so they tear each other down. Men get this and tear each other down. If you want change, be change. Leave the system. Don't play the stock market. Don't play the dating game. Don't gamble. Don't borrow. I know it's hard not to borrow, but try not to borrow. Try to save. But gambling, especially borrowing to gambling, dating, all these dating courses, all these self-improvement, right, is free. Getting fit, we are going to try and liberate as many men as we can, and we will tear this system down. It will collapse, but we are the pillars of society. And once, right, women have no power, and it might not be in our generation, but once women have no power, you watch, right? Everybody knows this, right? Women are unhappy right now. They are going to beg men. They're already starting to beg men, right? This is why you have so many women out there telling them, well, you can't get a man because you're insane. Men are sick of your shit. Stop behaving like a prostitute and you won't get treated like a prostitute. But enough men have given up that the government now is panicking. About 25% of mankind globally have given up on women. Period. Not just given up on marriage. They're not dating. They're not procreating. They're doing nothing with women, and that really has them at a panic. So we're starting to hear about robots and sex robots and selling you the ideal family with a robot, a dog, and a child raised by that robot, created in a lab for you. And women are lining up to beg for these robots, but you can't have a female. Female can't have a baby without a man. But a man's sperm can be turned into a baby. I don't know how the science works, but women are increasingly angry. All right, this is You know, men aren't even going to sperm banks. They're increasingly angry. Plus, of course, buying sperm is no guarantee you're going to get pregnant. As you hear, women are buying sperm to wipe on their face. I mean, it's getting insane. It really is. You want to know how insane women are? Thank you for watching. Just Google it. You know? Yeah. Google spam and sperm facials. Right? Sperm facials. Anyhow, I don't recommend you do it. It's disgusting what some women will do. So thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please support the channel. You support me on Ko-Fi, Patreon. Support. Buy my books. Buy my merch. All my links are in the link tree. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye for now.